Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of SacTown Movie Buffs. Once again, I'm Kier, and this is Jason. And today we're going to be reviewing two films. The first being The Devil All the Time, which I believe can be found on Amazon Prime. And the second being Spree. It's not Amazon Prime?
Netflix.
Oh, Netflix. Oh.
Yeah.
Spree is on Amazon Prime.
Well, yeah, Spree's wherever you want to rent it because you have to pay for it.
Yeah,
it's not streaming for free anywhere.
No, definitely not. And it's not cheap. It was like $7.
Well, it's less than a movie ticket.
True.
Yeah.
But we're not going to the movies right now, man. At least not
yet.
I am.
I'm finally going next week, but that's another story.
That is true.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go someday. Who knows, man? You know, maybe the last half of 2020.
You can just stay home. Nobody wants to see your face.
maybe the last half of 2020 we can actually catch some movies at the theater, which is kind of our bread and butter, which we haven't been able to do since beginning of March. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Cool. Well, those are the two films we're going to be reviewing. So, like I said, The Devil All the Time and Spree. I say we just get right into it, man. I'll have you start off if you don't mind, and if you want to take The Devil All the Time, tell us what that's all about.
Sure. Okay, The Devil All the Time. It is, first of all, I want to read the synopsis on Netflix, or not the synopsis, but just the little blurb they have there, because it's very vague, and I think there's a reason for that. It just says, sinister characters converge around a young man devoted to protecting those he loves in a post-war backwoods town teeming with corruption and brutality. That doesn't really tell you anything. And I think there's a reason for that, because this movie has a lot of story. I could definitely tell it was based on a book. Like I've never read the book, but it definitely has that feeling of a movie that's been based on a book that's probably this thick. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of story. It covers two different generations, multiple characters whose storylines converge on top of each other. So I can understand why the synopsis on Netflix is that vague. But the central character is played by Tom Holland, who is better known as Spider-Man, of course, as the son. It's a difficult movie to synopsize because he doesn't even the actor Tom Holland doesn't even come in until, I don't know, maybe an hour.
At least about 45 minutes into the film, if not an hour.
Right, yeah, because his character is in there portrayed as the little boy whose father. I don't really want to spoil what happens to his father, but his father's played by Bill Skarsgård, otherwise known as the clown from the It remake. But it's really hard to synopsize this movie without giving away the twists and turns. So
that's why I gave it to you.
Yeah, yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, but it is just a deep fried Southern Gothic tragedy melodrama about these characters, and we got blood feuds, we got crazy preachers, we got a pair of like a Bonnie and Clyde type serial killer plot line that you don't know how at all that's going to tie in, but then it makes sense the way it does. A little predictable the way it does, but I didn't mind. But basically, if you have a little bit of patience and you like movies that are dark and gritty and violent and just kind of big sprawling story, characters that intersect, then I think you will like this movie. I love that kind of movie. I'm a big fan of like long epic stories about characters who intersect in unpredictable ways, and I really like this movie. It's got an amazing cast on top of Bill Skarsgård and Tom Holland, who I think Tom Holland does a really good job here. You got Robert Pattinson as a sleazy minister. You got Riley Keough and Jason. Forget his last name, but what's his name? Sorry, I'm trying to read it on the poster there, but I can't quite do it. But as the two serial killers, basically, if you have some patience and you have nothing against some really nasty violence, and you can handle some maybe slightly overly done Southern accents at times, then I think you'll like this movie. I liked it. I didn't think it was perfect. It never really rose above the level of good for me. It never really took me beyond the level of good, but I was never bored. I was satisfied with where it wound up. I really liked the narration, which I found out afterwards. I thought it was Chris Cooper because it really sounds like Chris Cooper's voice. But the narration was actually done by the author who wrote the book. And I really liked that. It reminded me of some of the darker, a lot of things about it reminded me of some of the darker Coen Brothers movies, like Miller's Crossing, The Man Who Wasn't There, like the really darker, more violent Coen Brothers movies, but still have that kind of homespun kind of eccentricity. It reminded me a lot of that, especially the narration. But yeah, I mean, I was fully engaged the whole time. I liked it. What about you, Kier?
Yeah, I don't think I liked it quite as much as you did. You know, you know, and you know me, I'm not the hugest Coen Brothers fan overall, but this reminded me like a watered down version of a Coen's brother movie. That's kind of what I felt about it. You know, there was a lot of characters that I don't know. It's a long story, like you said, over like 2 generations, and I don't know. I personally came away kind of like, were all these characters even needed? You know, based on the different things that happened to the different characters, and you know, it was like one of those things where it's like, well, whose story is this film? You know what I mean? I mean, ultimately, I guess it's Tom Holland's story, but it's really not. You know what I mean? Because you could argue it's just as much Skarsgård's story in the beginning. You know what I mean? And so it's a movie that has a lot of different characters and a lot of different elements, and they try to tie it all together. And I didn't quite go for the way that they tied it all together. I think it still left me with a little bit more to be desired. I can't say I was completely bored by any means, but you know, it had violence, it had some good acting, it had some good scenes, but it was just so all over the place for me, and everything didn't quite wrap up the way that I thought that it was going to or should have. And because I came away like, well, what was the point of this character? What was the point of that character? You know what I mean? Because, you know, they barely even had that much screen time. You know what I mean? Like, so there's a lot of things where I was just personally kind of like, I don't know if that was even necessary. So, so I don't know. I felt like that they could have maybe excluded a few things and made it a little bit more tightly knit film. I agree. I get that that's probably the point. They wanted to have this long, sprawled out story that took place over like 2 different states, and you know, this supposed, like, they begin the film with like this connection between basically like this town in Ohio and this town in Virginia or West Virginia. I can't remember.
West Virginia, I think.
West Virginia, this, you know, this connection, you know what I mean? So I kind of was waiting for like, you know, something more to it. And yeah, you'll get what the connection is, but it just wasn't, I don't know. I didn't think that there wasn't even necessary to give you that buildup of these 2 towns, because the film really wasn't all that much about those 2 towns. It was more about the people, I felt like, you know what I mean? And really, I couldn't tell the difference between one town and the other. You know, it was pretty much the same, you know, kind of hillbilly backwood townspeople in both towns, you know what I mean? Overly religious or you know what I mean? So I don't know. I thought it was okay. I didn't necessarily love it. Like I said, I'm not a huge Coen Brothers fan, but I watching it, it kind of felt like a watered down version of a Coen Brother movie that wasn't as good. That's kind of what I felt like when I came away with it. So not one that I think I'll revisit personally. Like I said, the acting's good. I can't say that I was 100% bored. I maybe didn't care for exactly the way that everything tied up and all the different sprawling characters. But I don't know. I just thought it was okay. So my take.
All right.
Cool.
Wrong, but it's okay. No, I liked it. I liked it. I didn't like it enough to where I'm like gonna, you know, fight you over it or anything like that. You know, it was, you know, I liked it. I like the cast. I like it anytime when someone who is known for, I don't know. I like seeing a cast of young actors who are being allowed to, like, because most of these actors are, I mean, you've got like Tom Holland from Spider-Man, Sebastian Stan from also in the Marvel Universe, the Winter Soldier. You got Harry Melling from the Harry Potter movies. Of course, Robert Pattinson from Twilight, who he's been stretching his acting muscles for years now. That's nothing new that he goes in a dark, interesting direction. But it was kind of interesting to see these young actors from like the Marvel Universe actually getting to like say, you know, it's kind of like all of them kind of saying like, hey, look, you know, we can act, you know, we can also do something low budget and something.
Yeah, I just wish they did it in a better film.
Yeah, well, sure. I mean, it wasn't great, but I like seeing a whole bunch of young actors from the big franchises actually getting to, you know, act a little more and know, not in front of a green screen. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
I feel like most actors do that, though. Most actors will try to take a chance after doing, that for a long time. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, look at, Robert Downey Jr. He tried to do something completely different with the Doolittle film or whatever, which was, hot garbage from what everybody says.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I don't think that that's that unique that a bunch of actors wanted to do something that was against typecast necessarily. I don't think that that's that original or unique that characters are trying to do that, because I think all actors want to do that. I don't think any actor wants to be typecast as just the Spider-Man or just the guy from Twilight. I mean, I feel like they all do that to some capacity. So
no, I know. I'm just saying I like it. I like it when someone who is isn't that
the point of acting, to do different roles?
Well, sure. Well, I'm just saying, like, I know, like, they don't need to do it. They're multimillionaires, I'm sure. So they don't need to take a little character piece like this.
But my point is, I would argue most actors do that. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of their job.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Overall, like I said, I didn't. It's not one that I'll revisit personally. So
yeah. All right.
Cool. We'll come back to it in a minute.
Okay.
So moving on to the next film, which was Spree. So if you caught any of our previous shows, we reviewed a show a few weeks back. Well, I don't know, whenever this airs, it might be a month back, who knows? But a few weeks back, where we talked about two different types of basically social media type documentary films. So we talked about that, and when you brought this one up, we said that this one may have been able to go along with that one. This one's a little different because it is actually a movie versus a documentary, but it still has in that same vein of social media, basically, if you will. So Spree stars Joe Carey. Basically, he's the guy from Stranger Things, the works at the Chips Ahoy. What was
Steve, man, Steve?
Steve, yeah. Well, a lot of people don't know his name. You know what I mean? Like
everybody knows Steve. Steve's the best.
Yeah, anyway, Steve's the best.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Steve's the best. He works in an ice cream shop in Stranger Things.
Right.
So basically, Joe Carey's character is what's his name in this movie? It's is it Kurt?
Kurt's World, yes.
Kurt's World. Yeah. So basically, he's kind of like and you can tell the budget's really small because they had to use like off-brand names for everything. He's basically like a social media, like a YouTuber kind of guy, like a vlogger, basically. And so basically, he's been doing vlogging for like 10 years, where just on various topics, he brings up various things about his life and stuff like that. And never really kind of like has taken off in the last 10 years. Like he barely gets like double-digit views, basically. So he's somebody that is just always looking for the next edge, and he's got a friend that's like this famous blogger, Bobby, whatever his name is like some famous blogger or vlogger, I guess, if you will, and he's kind of wanting to get on his level. So he's trying different things, and so one of the things that he tries, and basically most of the film is filmed over basically one night. If you will. So he tries to switch things up, and he basically is kind of like an Uber or Lyft driver. They call it Spree driver in this film. So basically he's a spree driver, and he's basically kind of picking up passengers and essentially killing them on camera. So is the best way to describe it. And so that's basically what he's doing in order to gain fans and gain views and that kind of stuff. Not really sure what his end game was with that. You know what I mean? Like he just wants fame. He basically just wants to be famous, and will basically clearly go to any length or, because he's clearly trying to kill people or killing people on camera. And so basically that's what it's about. It's basically him, driving around picking up passengers and, trying to kill them and also trying to get views. So he's basically filming himself killing people. And then his vlogger friend, Bobby, is constantly like messaging him, like basically saying, man, you got one more chance, man. This is so weak. You're still not getting the views that you're supposed to get. So he's like, you need to be more creative with how you're killing people. And so basically that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to find different ways to be more creative so he can get more fame and that kind of stuff. And then his father, who's like a DJ, that's played by David Arquette, is also is also like constantly pinging him and hitting him up and that kind of stuff. And that's kind of basically what the movie is, without getting into too much spoiler. So it's basically about a guy trying to be a vlogger, and is not having any success from it, and now decides to basically kill people in order to get views. And that's basically kind of a nutshell of what the film is about. Yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was funny. I can't say that I loved it, but I did like it a lot. I thought it was an interesting concept, and just kind of like the price of fame, kind of basically is the best way to look at it. You want to be famous so bad that you're willing to basically, kill for it in a nutshell. So I enjoyed that concept. And it does have a lot of the things, just from us doing our YouTube channel, I come across all kinds of different channels and that sort of stuff. And so, I see so many people like doing like anything and everything in order to get famous or in order to get more views. And they're not obviously going to this link where they're killing people. But you'll see a lot of people just trying different things. They'll copy somebody else's style, or they'll copy something else that somebody else is doing, or if something's popular, they got to jump on it and get on whatever trend that is. And that's kind of what this guy was doing. And so that's why it kind of is in that same vein of social media and what it does to people, because, again, and like we've talked about this before in that previous show, it's when you're not getting the likes, or you're not getting the views, or you feel devaluated, you know what I mean? And it does something to your psyche. Not that you're always going to necessarily become a serial killer, but you get depressed. People get upset, they get depressed, they don't feel good about it. And that's kind of, in a nutshell, this is kind of more of a satire version of that, but that's kind of what's happening to this guy, as he's basically getting depressed, he's getting defeated, and he's just thinking like, how am I going to get these views, and what am I going to do in order to become famous and popular? But obviously, he took a route that there's a cost of that as well, and that's kind of where the film goes from there. So overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was decent. It was funny in parts. The only small gripe I had was that it. So while he's filming himself, because it's basically shot in a nutshell on his phone and with camera, so almost the entire film is filmed that way. But on his phone, as he's doing his night debauchery or whatever, he's getting constant like messages from people as he's gaining like fans and getting more popular. It was going so fast that I couldn't see all of them. So sometimes you were just like catching like a couple, like a brief blurb, or you know what I mean. So you're missing a lot, you know what I mean. And a lot of them the ones I could see were kind of funny, but I couldn't see all of them. So that was the only thing that kind of was like, I can't really see exactly what's going on. But overall, I enjoyed it though. What's your take, Jason?
Oh, I loved it. I loved this movie. I thought it was a blast. I thought Joe Keery was great. It took a little bit of an adjustment for me because Steve is my favorite character on Stranger Things. Stranger Things is one of my favorite shows. I love it to death, and he's my favorite character on the whole show. So it took a little getting used to see him play such a psychopath like this. You know what I mean? Because he's so. He's different than Steve, but also kind of like if Steve went horribly wrong or something like that almost. But yeah, I thought it was really entertaining. I thought like the first hour or so, or maybe even a little more than that, was just like almost perfect. Just the way it went so fast. And it was funny. It was disturbing. And it was like, I think it is kind of, it does say a lot, I think, about it. Does really go in with the last show that we did about those social media documentaries, because it goes to, the links that people will go to for that empty validation of likes, followers, and how desperate they are. And even when I actually really liked all the comments speeding by, because I liked the interactivity of having to watch what was happening and try to read some of the comments and stuff like that. And it was just funny to me how whenever he would, do something, it was like the comments were some of the funniest parts to me. Fake instantly, always like fake, or, who is this douchebag? And stuff like that.
That's, and that's essentially what comments are like in real life. You know what I mean? Anytime you can leave comments, there's always going to be somebody that says something, you know what I mean?
Who is this douchebag? LOL, or, you know what I mean? Just like garbage, I don't get the appeal of that kind of stuff, honestly, but I understand the need for the validation that comes with followers and likes and all that kind of stuff. I have social media, and I like it when my posts get likes, like anybody. But I thought this was really great. And I also want to point out Sashir Zamata, who played the comedian that he picks up. I thought she was great. I don't know who she is. Maybe she seems so good at doing it that it seemed like, she's probably like an online personality in real life.
Probably. I didn't know who she was either, but I figured maybe she might be a real comedian, or maybe she's a real, I don't know. So
yeah,
I'm like, yeah,
I thought she was really funny. Really, really, she added nobody says follow for follow out loud. Like that, I thought she really added like a second layer to it. If I had one gripe against it, it would be, toward the end, it does start to feel plotted. You know what I mean? Like, I think the first hour, 10 minutes, it feels real, not real, but like, I mean, it feels like it's happening. And toward the end, it's like, it starts to have like a plot that must have a resolution. You know what I mean? It started to feel kind of like a movie.
And by I don't know, the last 2/3 of it, you kind of knew how that story was gonna eventually end. You know what I mean? So and it felt that way a little bit for me as well. But I agree. Yeah.
But I did thoroughly enjoy it, and I would definitely I would definitely watch it again sometime for sure. If only to catch more of the comments. You know what I mean?
Yeah, at the very least. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. And I love the kid who Bobby Gamer or whatever, he I don't want to spoil. There's like a surprise about who he is, and I don't want to spoil it because it's a big laugh, but he was good too. So, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
I dug it.
Cool. Well, let's get into these reviews. Let's start with the Devil All the Time. Grade and face you would give that one.
I give that 3.5 stars out of 5. So for me, that's a solid B. Not great, but good. So that's this face, which is a smile, no teeth.
Cool.
Yeah.
You know me, I always gotta be like a star below. So I'm gonna give it, I'm gonna give it a 2.5 out of 5. Like I said, I like some elements of it, but overall, I just, I had a lot of issues with it as well. But I'm gonna give it 2.5 out of 5, and I'm gonna give it this face, which is pretty much just a straight face. So, no smile, no teeth. So, all right, and moving on to Spree.
Spree, I give 4 out of 5. So for me, that's a B+, which is this face. Smile with some teeth.
Well, I guess I'm not going to let you down again. I'm going to give Spree a 3 out of 5. Sorry. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5, which in this case, I'm just going to give it a straight smile. No teeth on it. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I did like it. Like I said, I liked enough of it to say that I'll give it a 3, but I'm not going to smile. I'm not smiling for you. All right, I'm not going to smile with teeth. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I'm just going to smile. Yeah, sorry. I take that back. I'm going to smile, but no teeth.
Okay.
Which is fair.
Can't smell your breath that way, so it's good.
Yeah, which smells amazing. Impeccable breath is what everybody tells me.
Yeah.
One of the best breaths ever.
Yeah. Got the most likes and followers.
The most likes and most followers of all time.
Yeah.
I definitely very, very different films for sure. These ones definitely didn't go in the same box, that's for sure.
Well, they both have a lot of murder.
Yeah, they're both pretty violent, so I'll give it that.
They both have a lot of murdering other people. So.
Yes, so that is true. They both are definitely murder films for sure.
Yeah,
and they both have, I guess, serial killers, if you will. So
yeah, there you go. See.
Yeah. So they're exactly the same. It's the same film.
It's the same thing.
It's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, we thank you guys for watching. As always, if you like the review, we ask that you like and subscribe. And then, as always, make sure you hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of our updates. And we will be back again with a new show for you guys soon. And we thank you again and have a great day. Bye.